What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today, I'd like to talk about a bold prediction from an NFL analyst on the New York Jets offense, and more specifically, Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson. So Benjamin Solak of ESPN had two bold Jets claims that I wanted to chat about today, and both bold in a very positive way for the New York Jets. And I know I can speak for all Jet fans. I hope that he's right, because this means the Jets would have a really nice season. Let's start with the Garrett Wilson ones first. First things first is that he says Garrett Wilson is the best receiver Justin Fields has played with in his career, and as a result, he predicts that Garrett Wilson will lead the league in receiving yards in 2025. Now that is bold. He has never come close to that, and I don't mean that as a knock against Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is an awesome wide receiver. I'm very happy he's a New York Jet, but just for context, the bar is pretty high to be the receiving leader. Last year was Jamar Chase, who had 1,708 yards. That's about 600 more receiving yards than what Garrett Wilson had a year ago. That's not to say that Garrett Wilson can't have a good year, and especially with Justin Fields as his quarterback. I know that many assume this is going to be a run-first offense, myself included. I think it is going to be a run-first offense. But in 2023, DJ Moore had 1,364 yards, nearly 1,400 receiving yards, with Justin Fields as his primary quarterback. So I think it's going to be hard for Garrett Wilson to get all the way up to like that 1,700 yard level, which it would take to lead the league. But I don't think it's outlandish to say this is going to be his best production year. I could totally see, if he's playing 17 games, a 12 to 1,400 yard season, because like Ben says, he is by far and away the number one guy in this offense. There's no one even remotely close that's going to challenge him for targets in the receiving game. Yeah, Breece Hall and Mason Taylor and Josh Reynolds and Allen Lazard, they're going to catch passes too, but it's going to be a pretty stark difference, I would think, between the targets and receptions that Garrett Wilson has versus everyone else on the roster. And there's no more Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams force feeding down the stretch last year, so we're not going to see that. Now let's get to the Justin Fields part of this. He thinks he's going to be the next quarterback to break out, like we saw with Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, and then Sam Darnold. His prediction: 3,000 yards passing, 900 rushing, and 30 total touchdowns. That's likely the kind of season you're going to need to see from Justin Fields for the Jets to avoid drafting a quarterback in the first round. I think he would have to have a very, very, very productive season, and that would be. Now 3,000 yards is nothing to go crazy over, but if you're looking at close to 4,000 all-purpose yards, that's a really huge difference than what we're used to seeing with Justin Fields. His best year passing was 2,562 yards in 13 games. Now, pace that out over 17, that's 3,350. But the 30 touchdown threshold, I think, is a pretty good number to keep an eye on. I'd like to see him get over that number. I'd like, somewhere in the 20, to 25 passing touchdowns, another 5 to 10 rushing touchdowns. I think that I'm going to go a little lower on rushing. I don't think he gets to 900, but between, 750 and 850 would be my guess. And that's not crazy off from his prediction, but essentially what you need to see from Justin Fields in my eyes is him looking like a top half of the league quarterback. If he looks like the 26th best quarterback in the NFL, which he's looked like a lot as a starter, then the Jets are probably going to look to draft someone. But if they win 10 games and they end the playoff drought, and Justin Fields is, 4,500 passing and rushing yards and 35 touchdowns, they're probably running it back with him again next year. And look, is that likely? I don't know. Well, let's wait and see. I want to see it from Justin Fields before I'm making any, declarative statements that he is or is not the guy going forward for the New York Jets. But again, that would make for a really fun Jets season if his predictions come true, where Justin Fields is the next quarterback to have that breakout and Garrett Wilson is leading the league in receiving. I hope he's right. I hope he's right, because we know how bad the Jets offense has been for a very, very, very long time. So let me know your thoughts on both of these predictions. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.